What's up, guys? It's been about 5 months. Things have been crazy with the building and stuff. Building's not up, obviously. We're still in here. I might have a little helper today, but we're back with the Z3, and we're going to see all the carnage here pretty soon. I mean, there's no bow housing left on this transmission, so that's a basic write-off, and this rear plate on this motor is no good anyways, or anymore, and the hole in the hood. But, and then things just keep getting better. So the rear window broke last night too. So there we are with that. So we're gonna dig into this thing. I mean, it's pretty much a write-off on this, and guess we're not going on A anymore. This stuff will still live on in Aubrey's convertible. I'll put it on her car, and obviously I gotta convert her over to electric water pump and stuff, because the drive-by wire isn't gonna, I might be able to make it clear. We'll see. I got a TIG welder. So, but yeah, this is what this has turned into. Was hoping to just put this engine together and sell it to somebody, but apparently I need an engine because I don't have another 6-port rear iron, and I don't feel like porting it. So that clutch decided it wanted to explode. So we're gonna go from an AUXITO to a ACT. And hopefully this one will hold together, because now I'm replacing an engine and transmission. So that's awesome. So basically 366 on this. We shouldn't have to run anything crazy. I've got a dog going crazy because she can't leave nothing alone. Leave that alone. Leave that alone. It's not yours. So let me start unbolting some of this stuff, and then we'll look at some of the carnage we got. Basically the only thing holding it in are 2 motor mounts right now. So other than draining the fluids out of it, we'll have this out pretty quick. So let me get that tore apart. I'm not gonna sit here and film tearing this all down. So I'll be right back. All right, so we started the video here with the Z3, but I got sick, and it's been super cold, and we've been getting storms. So it's actually been about a week. Got this all apart. I cleaned up the firewall. Like you said, there you can see where it was all smashed. I just gave it a thin coat of paint for now, and clearance that for the downpipe. So the carnage as it is, I've got pictures too in the car I can put up here as well, but that is what is left of the bow housing. It even ripped the little pivot ball off for the throwout bearing, and it got these splines pretty good. The transmission itself still good, so I'm not going to throw it out. And then on the engine, we got that ear and that one. So it's actually not as bad as I thought it was on the back of the engine. It did take the lightweight flywheel and shear all the dowel pins off of it, so that's pretty much junk. Here's the actual clutch and pressure plate. The pressure plate's actually what exploded, and you can see how mangled the actual clutch is here. And that's what's left of that. And then my bow housing, the pieces that I collected out of the road and what was still under the hood and through my hood. And the starter, it broke the ear off the starter and the back of it and all that. So next on the agenda, because I still got to make the mounts, which I'll be doing on the plasma table here for the REW, because obviously the motor mounts in the back versus the sides. But I got to get this all cleaned up and stuff like that. We'll be using our Castrol Super Clean, because I mean, that's not very greasy. But when probably won't be able to see, when all this blew apart and I don't feel like getting covered in crap, the whole underneath of this is covered in oil. So anything I touch, basically just dirty. And well, you know, you don't want to be touching oil every time you do anything. So I got to go find my drip trays and hose this right down. I mean, you can see that's where the oil comes out and around. And so anytime I touch anything under here, you're getting covered in crap, and that's no fun. So we're going to get the drip trays. We're going to get this clean, because, you know, stuff that I didn't do when I initially swapped, I made nice, you know, like the transmission mounts all painted up. And then supposedly we're going to find out, because I'm going to pull the drive shaft out. My drive shaft is fixed after a bunch of rigmarole from the drive shaft shop. And I don't know if I'm really going to get into the whole ordeal about this, but it wasn't any of my doing. but for some reason I had to pay for extra parts and them to re-shorten the shaft, because they were supposed to originally send this adapter with it, because apparently they don't have a BMW rear spline. So I got to put this on the diff and then the hardware and then that. So the drive shaft ended up being too long, yada yada yada, all this stuff. It is what it is. I am almost apt to leave my drive shaft that I made in the car because it was perfectly fine. But we are going to be putting down a lot more power now. So yeah, let me get these drip trays out and clean off the horsepower. I mean the oil. Yeah, this is dumb. This sucks to be doing this for no reason. And get this all cleaned off, and then we're going to start getting we're going to get the drive shaft in, we're going to get this transmission cleaned up, we're going to get it up in there, and then we're going to start mocking this motor in so I can make the motor mounts, and we're going to go from there. We're going to be doing a lot on this. Probably going to be going liquid to air intercooler on it, only because it's going to simplify a bunch of stuff. But there's a lot to do on this, unfortunately, and we're going to get right to it. So we're cleaning this all up with the super clean, and it's definitely looking a lot better than sand and everything else. And I got under here, got the drive shaft, the exhaust out of the way, took care of a lot of other things that were under here, like little studs and stuff that I'd cut my hands off with and all that good stuff. But we cleaned all this up with the super clean. It's hard to get a shot under here. So everything's not all oily. I mean, as clean as I need it to be right now. When the shop's up and I got it on the lift, I'm actually gonna clean the under of this car and undercoat it and all that, because it is a Alabama car, sorry. And so it's completely rust free. There's zero rust on this car. Working on trying to find a hardtop for it right now because of the top. But so that was my two-piece drive shaft. That was the Mazda knuckle that I welded on to the BMW shaft, which in reality it had no vibration or anything. It was fine. It's just it's got a carrier bearing in it and it's kind of whooped. So that was the biggest deal of me going with the drive shaft. But the new drive shaft, as you see, is just a little bit shorter for purposes. Like I said, there's that adapter. This is going to be a bear to get in because of the tunnel. So I'm going to fight with this right now, get this drive shaft in, and then get this transmission up into place and get it hung where it's supposed to be. Probably get the shifter back in, and then it's time to start picking this engine up and putting it down 100 times, because like I said, the mounts, they're not in the same place. So I already drew up some of the stuff in CAD. I'll pull it up when we start picking things up and putting them down, and we'll start be putting that in there so I can get all my measurements to put them back on the pads that I already made in the subframe. Well, this carrier frame, it's actually like a secondary frame. It's the X brace originally for the Z3 that I added little mounts on. It worked perfectly. That's the crazy part, is everything did work perfectly in this car, and it's getting everything sorted out. And then, like I said, 10,500, 11,000 RPM, and that clutch let loose. So here we are. So let me fight this adapter in here, and we'll get right back to it. Well, this is exactly what I knew was going to happen when we decided that you said that we had to put an adapter on this drive shaft. And here it is. Apparently I need to redesign the entire subframe to fit your drive shaft, because now it hits. Because if it was back that half an inch where it was supposed to be, it would be fine. But now the drive shaft crashes into the subframe every time I turn it. Look, there it's stuck. And we'll come back around. There, we're stuck. Awesome. Thanks, guys. $1,000 now. What do I have to send back to pay for now? All right, so we're having a few mishaps with the drive shaft. I guess cue my angered video. we'll just keep going with that $1,000 down the drain. Gonna have to modify the subframe, but I'm gonna keep working here. And now, like I said, we had the mounts on the side on the Z3, so we're gonna be cutting a plate from here and then doing some plates off the side and then over, which this swap mount, once I make this, will actually work the same way for an FC swap for the REW. Instead of being flat out, they just have to be angled up at 45 degrees. So probably pop the breaker here. We'll see. It is frigidly cold out here. And I don't know, I'm just trying to setting on this. I'm not sure if it's going to be correct or not. And apparently plasma table didn't want to zero itself, so I've got to re-zero this thing. And I'm just gonna hit dry run real quick to make sure it doesn't do anything stupid. All right, we're good. So go back to work 0. And apparently the torch height controller didn't want to work. So I've got that on now. Turn dry run off. We'll see, because for some reason this doesn't want to let me change my pierce height. So we've got it all on. And turn dry run off and see if we pop a breaker here. And start, I guess. And, oh, I gotta hook the air up. What a jerk. Stop. Go to work 0. Yep. And let's see if we get some misfires or if it's just gonna cut. So, now that I've got air, I'll try this again. We may be standing in the dark here in a second because I don't have the biggest... Okay, so apparently this is cool. Let me be right back and get past these technical difficulties because there's no point in filming all this. All right, let's try this again. So, dry runs off, start, and oh, there we go. Nice clean cut. So I don't know if you can hear me, but yeah, I was having problems getting my circle started. But it looks like my lead. This makes stuff fucking, excuse my language. Getting plastered. I gotta put some water in the table here. It's the problem. I didn't have anything on here to pop the breaker, so. Getting stinky in here because there's a little antifreeze in there. I gotta open the door. I'll be right back. All right, got it cut up. I messed up because I forgot this is not symmetrical on an FD. One side is a little bit longer than the other. So I have to add, well, basically I've got to take off. Oh, we'll go on. All right, I got to take off. Shit. Basically 13 millimeters off of that side. And let's see, we got to go all the way out. Sorry with the camera here. So I don't want to be right on top of that. Well, I can cut a hole. That's roughly 12.6. We're overhanging 6 millimeter. So got to subtract that, add 12.6 onto this side of my drawing and take the other side off of this. But I'm gonna go inside, get some water for this table so I don't die. Yeah, yeah, unfortunately, stuff like that happens. I mean, this piece of metal, I guess, isn't wasted. I can use it for something else. So let me get right back to it. All right. So I'm back, and I got this all set to where it's supposed to be now. As you can see, we go down, we clear. I'm gonna have to gusset it up and whatnot, but I have to pick things up and put them down, set them in the car, and get these lined up with the plates so I can tack them in the car exactly the height that it's got to be. I mean, they're about dead even with the oil pan, but I want them perfect. So moving on to the drive shaft woes. I'm gonna try something. Hopefully it works here. Let's see if I can get some light and climb under here now that it's all wet. So I don't have many hands, so I'll just do what I can. So what I'm gonna do is, because I only need a little bit, I've taken the punch and I whacked up on that for right now, because I don't have the time to take all this out right now and notch the frame. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just going to shim this down a couple millimeters, because it's really all it's hitting, and run the bolts back in, which really, yeah, some people are gonna say, yeah, I'm changing the pinion angle, but in reality, I'm changing it a half a degree. It'll live, but at this point in time, I need to get this done. And yeah, you know, so I'm just gonna shim it down 1 to 2 washers, and that should give plenty of clearance. So let me get these in and we'll come back. I'll get the shaft in, and we'll go from there, and hopefully this will work. So because the transmission does come down, it's a little high, but I'm gonna have a little bit of an angle on this drive shaft anyways. The other one was 2-piece with a carrier bearing in it, and this is a single piece. So let me get this in here, and then we can keep going on this project. Okay, got a giant mess here, but victory at last. Shimming the oh boy, this is gonna be fun to get under here. Shimming this differential. I'm trying. Shimming this differential. I've got the drive shaft in and the transmission in, and it clears now, thank goodness. So yeah, yeah, it's tight. So we're all in and all that good stuff. Yeah. I'm kind of speechless now, because the 2 washers is all it took. The drive shaft angle is actually like 2 degrees, so it's perfect. And it may change ever so slightly, but not much. So I've got this all in here, and now I'm going to pull the clutch off, the turbo, all that stuff off of this. Well, I'm going to spend about 20 minutes cleaning here, so I'm not going to film that either. And then pull everything off of this engine block and get it set down there, and then start drawing these tabs in CAD and any other things while I'm thinking about it. Yeah, gussets and stuff. Well, I can do that after the fact. I'm just going to draw a line along the oil pan, so that way I'm going to get that kind of bolted to the transmission with like 3 bell housing bolts, and then set that down there, put my mounts down, get the engine, put my mounts down, get the engine where it's going to be, and then put the plates in there, draw the lines, and pull it all out and weld it, and then pull the engine back out and put the clutch on permanently and front cover and oil pan, and then we're moving along here. So let me get to it. I got a lot of cleaning to do. All right, well, here we go. We're gonna attempt to get this in by myself the first time here. Yeah, I wish I knew where the tripod went. It's probably under 4 feet of snow from the last part of the video I was doing for the barn, or not the barn, the shop, the 50 by 60 steel building. But yeah, so I'm going to put a little zip string on here, hold that straight, and hopefully not crash into very much, and get this thing set in here for mock-up. So give me a second, we'll come back and I'll show you exactly what I was explaining we were gonna do. All right, it's freezing out here. Got a little carried away here, like normal, and did videos, a bunch of stuff, but we're still on mock-up, and now you'll see where we're at. I did salvage some stuff from the previous build on this car. So here we are. So I got the engine in. It was a fight getting it in by myself. Still have to finish up the mounts, but you can see the mount, how it's in there. I got to gusset it up and stuff, but the engine is actually sitting in here. It's got a couple bolts in the transmission. So where we're at, I salvaged the cold air box. I cut a piece out in the plasma table that I'm going to TIG weld into the back of this for the old opening because I had to lower it, obviously. And pretty much this is how we're going to look. I've got the cardboard box in here right now because, like I said, as I fall on the ground, we're doing a liquid water to air intercooler setup in this. So pretty much what you see is what you get intercooler pipe wise. I've got this going in pretty straight, which is going to help distribute the air to both rotors a little better. Plus gives me all the serviceability to come down here, change spark plugs, service this thing without any issues, which is always a pain in the ass on the FD engines because it usually cuts so tight, the intercooler pipes, in the way of trying to change spark plugs and stuff. So we got that. After we get everything mocked up with the intercooler pipes and the basically the heat exchanger up front, I've got I don't know if I'll be able to show you on camera, but you see these two Allens are going through the old AC condenser deal there. Let's see if we can see up in here. So there's a flat stock piece in there right now. It's actually drilled and tapped. I'm going to be coming down with a bracket here and here to hold the heat exchanger on the top, and then one underneath when it gets here. But I got to wait for it to get here. So pretty much we're at a standstill of waiting on a bunch of parts. Oil cooler line I have to do. I don't know how well I can be able to get in here to see. Probably not good at all. So it used to be on the rear iron on the bottom on the FC. It's on the top now. That 45 isn't going to work. I have to do a banjo bolt. Reason being is the banjo is going to let me come off of that straight because right now it's going to crash into the frame pretty good. So we're there with that. And then back here, which there's going to be bad lighting, I have to modify the wastegate dump tubes and shorten it up and then dump it more down so I can get the down pipe through here. I fit it down in. It's really, really tight and hits everything, but that'll alleviate that. But we'll get into that more as we move along. But for the most part, this is going to be the setup. And for now, I think instead of fighting with the heater and stuff, I'm going to cap it off. It did work in here before, but I've got a lot more fan dangling to do around the steering shaft and everything else than I did have to with the FC engine. So we're going to be playing with that a little bit. So on top of that, the parts I did get in were injectors, blow-off valve, wastegate, fuel pump. I've got the AN fittings for the fuel lines. I'm not sure if I'm going to use this regulator yet because I've got a Corvette regulator on it, but I've got it regardless. And then I have to do the turbo oil drain, which I'm going to do outside of the engine. Yeah, outside of the bay when we pull the engine back out here. So as you can see, we're coming along pretty good in this. Still a lot more to do, but now, like I said, I'm going to be waiting on parts. And in reality, I've shot this video over the last 2 weeks, and I kind of want to get it up to you guys and, you know, not make this a 20-minute long video on what we're doing. And then I'm going to have some help when we pull this out and we start fabbing the rest of the stuff. But we're looking good right now. We're moving along, and that's where we're pretty much at right now. I don't want to do the blow-off valve or anything or finish these pipes up until we get this intercooler here. And So like I said, now we're pretty much at a standstill until the rest of the parts come in. Like I said, I got the banjo bolts and a bunch of other odds and ends. So I got that. I may work on putting the roll bars in that I got out of a 2000, which I got to weld the brackets in the back and stuff like that, which you can't see any of it now because the top's up. But I might work on that and stuff because there's really no point in putting that in the video. So, I mean, this is pretty much where we are for right now. So I'm going to call it here and get this uploaded. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you liked the video. I'm sorry that I don't have anybody to film for me, and I'd like to get a little more action in here. But maybe on this next video here, when I have some help, because it's hard as hell to hold the phone, camera, whatever, and put things together, and then not having a tripod right now because it vanished. So like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll get into this, and probably in the next video we should just about have this running. Thanks.